that, am I correct?
That's correct, my lady.
You also said that you've always wanted to have a partner that was a Christian. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lady.
My lady, it is at page 1396 of the record. Now, was Riva then your first Christian partner?
No, she wasn't, my lady.
I didn't hear that.
I beg your pardon, she was not, my lady.
You'd have to speak a little louder.
I beg your pardon.
The questions that I'm going to ask you now has got nothing to do with your faith. It has to do with your relationship. So, although it deals with religion, I'm not challenging your faith. Do you understand that?
I understand, my lady.
Good. Because you see, Mr. Pistorius, I find the way that you gave your evidence interesting. You said that Riva was a very strong Christian. You appreciate it.
Yes, she was, my lady. She prayed with me, she prayed for me, she tried to be a better person. She liked to listen to Christian music.
You've now cut my cross-examination in half. She prayed for me. It's about me. Your evidence was the same.
My lady,
She would pray for me at night. We would pray about everything. Pray about my training. Pray about all the small things I had in my life. That's true. That was because she prayed for you. That was important.
that's true, my lady.
Now, I'm going to deal with your exposure to crime and how you've been a victim of crime. Now, just deal with yourself. Have you ever reported a crime at the police station?
The only crime that I reported at a police station, my lady, or had a case against, I had a case against the South African Police Service for wrongful arrest in 2009. It wasn't a reported crime, but there was a docket that had been opened.
Yeah, no, but the question is different. Did you ever go into a police station and complain about anything?
No, I did not, my lady.
Now, I will go through all your exposure. Why did you not do that if you've been exposed to crime before?
My lady, if we can go through the list of the crimes that I'd been exposed to, the housebreakings. When I got back to South Africa, as I said, the housebreaking was a week or more earlier. There was a TV missing. I didn't think that anything could be done about it. I didn't have insurance at the time. There was no reason for me to open up or to go to a police station and report the crime. When I was shot at on the highway, I didn't want to go to the police station. I didn't think they'd be able to do anything about it. When I was assaulted in December 2012, I didn't want to go to the police station because the person that was who was on the phone with me before the assault, I'd heard that he'd had connections at the police station. So I was fearful to go to the police station. So a friend of mine, Mr. Justin Devaris, organised a meeting at the Hawks, and we went straight to them.
Good, now we have it. You've been a victim of a burglary where they stole items from your house. You never reported that to the police.
That's correct, my lady.
You had a dog kicked in your yard. You never reported that to the police.
The police came out on that occasion, my lady, but there was never a report or a docket opened. It was just seen as there was no burglary or break-in.
Now, that happened whilst you stayed somewhere else, not at Silverwoods, am I correct?
That's correct, my lady.
Now, then you moved into Silverwoods. When was that again?
It was in May 2008 about, my lady.
Now, in Silverwoods, whilst you were there, you were never the victim of crime at your house.
That's correct, my lady.
There were no burglaries or anything at your specific house.
That's correct, my lady. Except for the police stealing my watches, my lady. That was the only victim of crime I've had at my house.
Now, what also happened at Silver Woods is that I don't know exactly when, but I know that it was early in 2012 that they increased the security at Silver Woods. Is that correct?
On several occasions, they increased the security, my lady. I'm not sure at which periods. I was often away for months, and I heard from other residents that they had upped security measures, and then those measures didn't work, and then they tried to reinforce new measures, and those measures were breached, and then they employed new security companies, and there were problems with those security companies. So at different times, there were different increasing measures that were taken. I'm not sure what the measures were.
And you felt it was safe enough to leave your cars outside and not in a garage.
That's correct, my lady.
So you never thought that somebody would break into your car?
I never thought that somebody would break into my car, my lady.
You thought that it was safe enough not to immediately fix a broken window downstairs?
My lady, as I said, I had bought the glass for the broken window, and it was in the process of getting repaired. So I was in the process of fixing it.
But it'd been broken for a while before then.
That's correct. There's a latch at the top where the hole of the window was, and there's a latch at the bottom of the window which one wouldn't be able to reach. But it was important for me that I got the window fixed, and I had gone through the process of doing so.
There's no burglar proofing in front of that particular window that was broken?
There's no burglar proofing on any of the windows, my lady.
Now, you say they've been busy working at your house. For how long before the incident would you say they've been busy working there?
I guess about a week, my lady.
And you were not concerned about the ladders that the builders would leave in your yard every night?
I was concerned, my lady. I asked the building contractor if he'd mind putting the ladders in the garage at night. I don't remember checking it every night, but I checked in on one occasion that they were in the garage at night.
But this night you didn't check?
No, that night I did not check, my lady.
So let us just say that, why did you not check? Was that not important?
It was important to me, my lady. I don't know why I didn't check it.
But you were kept up to date about the security measures at Silver Woods, meaning the guards would be patrolling, how many guards there would be, and that there will be control at the gates.
Lady, that's contrary to what I said earlier, is that I wasn't up to date. I knew that there were improvements made from other neighbours, but I wasn't up to date into what security measures had been increased.
Interesting, because if somebody is so concerned like you, I would have expected that person to find out exactly what they're doing. Why did you not do that if you're so concerned?
As I said, my lady, I spoke to various neighbours in the state who informed me that various things had been done. I can't remember now as to what was done and when it was done. I was aware that improvements were constantly being rectified. The estate obviously had to build up a fund or treasury to afford these things. So at times, when I spoke to Mr. Stander, he would tell me that I think he was on the Homeowners Association. He would tell me about certain things that had happened whilst I was away, certain incidents. On the odd occasion, I'd get an incident report when I drove in at the gate, which I would read, but I wasn't aware of specifically which improvements had been made and how many guards were patrolling and that sort of thing. Or
rather, tell us, did you at any time ask people to do specific things, that you indicate to them how concerned you were about security at the Homeowners Association?
I've never been to a Homeowners Association meeting, my lady. I'm often overseas. I don't know when the meetings are held. I wouldn't be at home for more than half of the year, and even if I was in South Africa, I was seldom at my house, so I didn't follow the Homeowners Association meetings, but I was kept in contact with some of the members that, or Mr. Stander would relay the messages if I'd asked him about them.
Then, would you please just explain your alarm system, because I tried to read it again and I don't understand your alarm system.
My alarm system comprises of internal sensors, it comprises of external sensors, and it works through a monitoring box like a normal alarm system with a battery pack, backup battery pack if there's power failure, and then it's got a remote, my lady, so there's one button that you can arm and one button that you can disarm, and then one button if you're staying in at the house and you only want the outside sensors to be activated so that you can still walk around the house, so that if a guest is staying over or staying downstairs, that you can activate the alarm outside and that you'd still be able to walk inside.
So what did you activate that night?
I activated the alarm of the house, so the inside and the outside of the house.
Okay. So before that particular night, you were satisfied that there's enough alarm systems and sensors outside so that if somebody would come onto your premises, you would pick it up?
It's not what I said, my lady. I said in my chief that they were building at the house. It's possible for them to take an alarm beacon off the outside wall, a sensor off the wall. But they're not bolted onto the wall. You can take them off. When they painted the house the previous time when they were doing maintenance work, they took some of the beacons off. The beacon doesn't have memory of what it saw last time it was activated. So if you took that beacon and you placed it somewhere else on the house, or if you left it off and the alarm was activated, it would monitor what it saw and it would register any disturbance. So I wasn't confident that there was I didn't know what work they'd done at that time on my house, but I knew that at the point of them painting that there was a possibility that they would take the beacons off the wall.
Okay. There's quite a few things we have to just look at here. Firstly, this happened in 2010 when they painted your house the previous time.
I don't remember, my lady.
Now, tell me what you remember when. When did this happen?
I remember that they painted my house. It may have been 2010, my lady. The paint that the developer used wasn't of very high quality, so the paint was running and it formed cracks on the house. I had to get the waterproofing redone and the house repainted, and that would have probably been about 2009 or 2010.
So can we now agree that it's in all probability in 2010?
We can believe that in all probability it was probably 2009, 2010. It may have even been 2011, my lady.
No, that is not good enough, because you gave evidence, and when you gave evidence, you knew when it was. Because it is important that we get an idea when that was.
If I think about the time I moved into my house, if it was within a year of moving into my house, it would have been covered by the building contractor. There was a year warranty on the snag list. So it makes sense that if it was within a year, so to May 2009, I would have got the builder to redo the work that was done on the house. So it must have been after that period that I got it done, because it was done independently. It wasn't done by the building contractor, and so it could have been any period. I don't remember what date it was. It could have been 2009. It could have been 2010.
What I hear today, though, is you said there was a possibility that they could have taken off some of these sensors. Was that now when they painted the house?
That's correct, my lady.
Now, if you say it's a possibility, did you check up on that?
I said I didn't check up on it, my lady.
So you don't know if they took some of it off or they did? You don't know?
I don't know, my lady.
Okay. Now, if you knew that they took off some of the sensors, you would have checked up on it. Because you're security conscious.
I didn't know if they'd taken some off or some on, my lady. I didn't check. I knew that they were in the process of painting the house, and that there was a possibility that they may have taken some of or one or some or more of the sensors off the walls.
You see, I don't think it's so significant, but unfortunately I have to show you that you've changed your evidence to what you said in Chief today about the alarm. Why?
I don't remember me changing my evidence, my lady. If Mr. Nall may show me, then...
Yeah, I will. Gladly. My lady, I'm referring to page 1464.
Page
1464 of the record, my lady.
Thank you.
I'll start reading from line 5. They do not work with wiring. So, when they had painted the house in 2010, they had taken all the eyes off the outside walls and they painted the home.
That's correct, my lady.
No, but that's not what you said today. And that's my question. Why would you change it today?
I said that when they painted the house in 2010, that they took all the lights off. If you look at the paint colour behind the lights, they're consistent with what the house colour was. So they did take them off the wall, my lady.
No, you see, that's not the question, Mr. Pistorius. The question is, today you said you don't know if they did.
We're talking about two different incidents, my lady. Mr. Nall's talking about in 2009, 2010, what my evidence was in 2010. I said in 2010 that they took them all off. What he's referring to now, what I was saying, I don't know if they did, was in February 2012. I don't know if they did in February 2012. They're two different incidents that he's trying to refer to.
With the utmost respect, Mr. Pistorius, this is now the biggest indication of you tailoring evidence. You cannot have made that mistake. It's impossible to do.
May Mr. Nall please read the context in which I said that?
I'm reading nothing. I'm asking you, why did you make the mistake, sir?
I didn't make the mistake, my lady.
You cannot explain the mistake in the way that you're doing. You're tailoring your evidence. You could not have made that mistake.
My lady, my understanding is that they're two different incidents. That when I spoke about the 2010 incident, 2010 renovation, they took the lights or the beams or the beacons off the walls. In 2012, I was unsure if they had taken them off, if they were in the process of taking them off. I didn't know which parts of the house were being painted at the time. So they're two different incidents, my lady.
You see, Mr. Pistorius, I'm going to take you up on this answer, but I'm coming back because you're getting deeper into trouble. So are you telling me that in February 2013, you did not even know if they've taken it off then?
That's what I said, my lady.
But why did you not check?
My lady, I came home late in the day. I wouldn't be walk around the house and go check what they've painted and what they haven't done. The building contractor was somebody who was busy with the process.
And
I don't know how it would have helped me if I checked if the alarm beacons were on the wall or off the wall. I wouldn't have had an option. There would be nothing that I could do. I presumed that they may have been taken off the wall.
No, you see, Mr. Pistorius, that is the problem with tailoring evidence. You have to keep explaining. Because, really, there is no way, Mr. Pistorius, that you could have misinterpreted my questions. You're now in trouble. And now you just give an explanation that's nonsensical. Why are you doing that?
I haven't tailored any evidence, my lady. if you look at the record, they're two separate incidents.
You gave no evidence in your evidence in chief about tampering or working on your alarm in February 2013. Not a single word.
I didn't tamper with my alarm.
You see, Mr. Pistorius, you're not listening to questions, and that's a problem. Listen to the question. You gave no evidence about anybody working on your alarm in February 2013.
If I didn't, then I didn't, my lady. That's
No,
correct.
that's not that easy. Why did you not? Why would you now confuse it today? It's not that easy.
I'm not sure, my lady.
No, you must be sure, Mr. Pistorius, you're giving the evidence.
If Mr. Rude didn't put a question to me, my lady, I'm sure that he had a reason for it. I don't know what the reason would. I don't know why I didn't talk about the alarm system, my lady.
So we're added at the rule list for mistakes.
I have full trust in Mr. Rue, my lady. I don't doubt why, if there was a reason why he wouldn't ask me about it, I'm sure that reason is with him, my lady.
No, it's
I'm
because
not blaming it on anyone. I'm saying simply that if it didn't come up, I don't know why it didn't come up.
you see, Mr. Pistorius, and the second time I put it, and I'm putting it to you because that's really what I believe in. Mr. Rue will not make those kind of mistakes.
I'm not
You are
saying,
tailoring your evidence as you're standing there because you were confronted with a contradiction.
I didn't say Mr. Rue made a mistake, my lady.
But now let us. Okay, I'm going to just put it to you and then move on. So, your evidence is in 2010, they took off all the sensors off the wall.
To my knowledge, that's correct, my lady.
Now, being security conscious, you checked your alarm after that.
What was Mr. I beg your pardon, my lady, I didn't hear the full question.
Did you check your alarm after that? After that work was done in your house in 2010?
Yes, my alarm was working after somebody came out to check that the alarm system was working, my lady.
So, in 2010, after they've finalized whatever they did, paint your house, you had somebody come out and you were convinced that your alarm was 100%.
That's correct, my lady.
And in 2013, you did not know, at least, of any malfunction of your alarm.
I wasn't aware of any malfunction of my alarm, my lady. Sometimes the battery in the remote would go flat and I'd have to use the keypad. Sometimes the alarm would go off in the middle of the evening, but I wasn't aware of any malfunction.
But one thing we have to then work in somewhere in your version is your deactivation of the alarm that night.
Is that a question, my
Yeah,
lady?
it's when did you do that? When did you deactivate the alarm?
I deactivated my alarm just before I left my room to go open the front door, my lady.
That letter, okay. I'm going to put it in there. You didn't say that in your evidence. You know that. You did not give that evidence. Do you know that?
If Mr. Nall puts that to me, then I respect it. I didn't say that.
So we must now put in that you phoned the Mr. Stander, and it's not. I'm not going to that portion of your evidence. I'm just doing it in broad strokes. You made phone calls to Mr. Stander. You made phone calls to 911, and then you had to go down and for you to open the door.
That's correct, my lady.
In that process, you still remember to deactivate your alarm.
I don't remember deactivating my alarm, my lady. I remember grabbing the keys for the front door, which were on the speaker. Every night when I come into my room, I close the door, I activate the alarm. Every morning before I leave my room, I deactivate the alarm. It's a habit, as is doing any other thing. The only reason I can say that I deactivated the alarm at that point was because the alarm never went off. It would have gone off when I ran down the stairs. It didn't go off, so I can confer that I don't have an independent recollection of putting the alarm off.
That's not what you just answered, because when I just asked this question, and the record will bear me out, when I just asked you a question, you said, I deactivated my alarm in my room.
That's correct, my lady.
Now you don't know. That cannot make sense. It's two different things. You're tailoring as we go.
It makes complete sense, my lady, because if I left my room and the alarm was still activated, it would have gone off. So I must have deactivated my alarm.
You see, there you're right. Must have is perhaps more convincing than what you said. You said, before I left my room to go downstairs, to open the door, I deactivated my alarm. You didn't say must have. You said as a fact. And I'm testing that.
That's correct, my lady. I made a mistake. I must have said must. Should have said must have. I couldn't put it as a fact, as I don't have a independent recollection of me.
Why would you make a mistake like that? Because you just want to answer Nell's questions, and you just want a way out? Or why would you make such a mistake?
No, I do want to answer Mr. Nell's questions, my lady. It's not that I want a way out. It's that it makes sense to me that I must have disactivated the alarm. If I said that I deactivated the alarm, that's what makes sense to me.
You see, the problem here is, Mr. Pistorius, you spontaneously gave the answer. And that spontaneous answer cannot be interpreted in the way that you want the court to interpret it now. It's impossible. Must have was never said. Why are you changing your evidence?
It was a mistake on my behalf, my lady.
We get lots of mistakes this morning, Mr. Pistorius.
I'm tired, my lady. I'm sorry if I got the wrong word. I meant I must have turned my alarm off. It makes sense to me that I switched it off. Nobody else could have switched it off. It didn't go off when I ran through the house. It didn't go off at a later stage. It can only make sense to me that I switched it off.
You see, your answer now puts me in a predicament. Are you too tired to continue? Because I don't want a response again today that I'm tired and therefore I made a mistake. So I want you to please tell the court, if you're tired and you want time, we will discuss it with your legal team.
My lady, it's not that I want time. It's that I'm tired. I'm going to be tired. I don't need time. I am tired. It's not going to change. I understand the predicament that Mr. Null's in. I just ask that he bears with me. I've made a mistake. I've admitted to making a mistake. I said I must have switched it off. I can't be sure that I said I can or I did switch it off because I don't have an independent recollection of switching it off. So I must have switched it off. It didn't go off later, and at that point, if I didn't switch it off, then it would have gone off.
You see, with respect, Mr. Pistorius, and I'm just saying that I'm not convinced about your answer now. I think that you're trying to cover up for lies, and I'm not convinced. So,
just before you proceed, Mr. Pistorius, it's important that you should be all here when you are in that witness box. You understand that?
I do, my lady.
So if you are tired and the reason you're making all these mistakes is because you're tired, you must say so.
My lady,
it doesn't help to say it's not going to change.
I understand, my lady. I am tired, my lady, but I made a mistake with the way I answered the question. I said I did where I must have. I don't have an independent recollection. Mr. Null's right, my lady. I'm not arguing the point with him.
But that is not the question. The question is, are you too tired to proceed?
No, my lady.
Because you can be at a disadvantage when you are in that box.
I understand.
You understand that?
Yes, my lady.
Yes, it can't be fair to you. And it's not fair to this court either.
I understand, my lady.
Are you making these mistakes because you're too tired?
I made the mistake, my lady, not because I'm tired. I made the mistake because I don't have a... Mr. Nile put to me that he asked me, and I said that I switched the alarm off before I left my room.
Yes, but then can we accept that you haven't made this mistake because you're tired? Can we accept that?
I can accept that, my lady.
No, can we accept that?
Yes, my lady.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Nile?
As a good pleases, you might now think I'm unfair, Mr. Pistorius, but why did you then make a mistake? If it's not because you're tired, why is it?
My lady, I would have switched the alarm off. If the alarm didn't go off, it's a habit that I switch the alarm off before I leave my room. If I grabbed those keys, when I ran downstairs to open the front door, the remote is on those keys, I would have switched the remote off. I don't have an independent recollection of switching off the alarm, but I would have switched the alarm off, my lady.
Mr. Pistorius, as I said, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage, but I'll take it from you. The only reason why you are now changing your evidence is you're covering up, you're tailoring your evidence. There is no other reason for it.
I'm not.
Or give me a reason if you have another reason.
My lady, it's fact that if I left my room and the alarm was activated, that it would have gone off if I hadn't switched it off, if I haven't deactivated it. So it's not tailoring of evidence, it's the fact.
Then we also have to factor something else in your version, and that is, you must have been concerned that intruders got into your house without the alarm going off.
My lady, I didn't have time to think about the alarm at that point. I didn't think about the alarm. I just knew that there was somebody in the house.
But let us put it differently. With the alarm on, people would not be able to enter your house without the alarm going on. Yes.
That's correct, my lady. If they weren't painting at my house and all the beacons were on the wall, they wouldn't be able to. But at that point, I didn't even think about the alarm, my lady.
You see, this is an integrated system, am I right? The alarm system.
I'm not sure what an integrated alarm
system is. It works off one control panel. If one of the beams did not work, it would be indicated, am I right?
That's correct, my lady.
Okay. So it would indicate on the alarm system if one of the beams was faulty.
If one of the beams were faulty, it would indicate that, my lady.
And there was no such indication that night when you switch it on?
No, there wasn't, my lady. But a beacon can be taken off the wall, and it doesn't mean that it's faulty.
But let us just... And I don't know your system, so I'm asking a question. If there's an open zone or something not working, it will not activate. You'll have to fix the problem before the alarm would activate. Am I right? A door open or a beam not working.
If there was an open zone, I don't have connectors on any of the doors or windows, so there isn't a function on my alarm for an open zone, my lady.
I see.
So if the window opened, the alarm wouldn't go off. There's no alarm for open zones.
I'm not going to task you on this because I don't know your alarm system, but I just want to get back to an answer and then move on. If your alarm was properly functioning, nobody would be able to access your house without the alarm going off before they get there.
If all the beacons were on the walls outside, my lady, then I think that is correct.
Now, that brings another question, and that is, if you were concerned with the ladders, did you not ask the contractor about work on your alarm system, what they did with that?
I don't remember having a conversation with the builder about the alarm system, my lady. He had several things that he had to do, and the alarm was functioning, so I didn't have... If he had to take them off to paint the house, then I presumed he would take them off and put them back.
Now, if you would leave your room through that door, would you activate the alarm?
I don't understand the question, my
Look,
lady.
if you go out to your room, you're inside your room, the alarm is on, I walk out the door, would I activate the alarm?
Which
No,
door
you-
are you talking?
The bedroom door. The bedroom door. If you walk out the bedroom door,
I
the
don't
alarm
know.
is activated.
The alarm would be activated. You'd have to deactivate it, not activate it,
Yeah.
my lady.
But if it's activated and I walk out your door, what will happen?
Nothing would happen, my
Would the
lady.
alarm not go off?
No, my lady.
Where must I be before the alarm goes off?
The first beacon upstairs is where the top flight of the stairs is, my lady.
So if I get there, the alarm would go off.
Yes, that's correct, my lady. Up the panel for the alarm, the keypad has access. The 3 bedrooms at the top have access to the keypad. There isn't a beacon in that upstairs lounge room. So if you leave the room, that's still a zone. There's an upstairs TV room there. At night, if I had visitors or if I had a housemate, he could watch TV there. Or if I had friends and their kids were coming over, they could watch TV up there. There was no beacon in that room, so the 3 bedrooms led onto that lounge. If you come out of my room, the alarm wouldn't go off. There's no sensor there. As soon as you pass the keypad upstairs, that's where the inside beacon is, above the cupboard. That's where it would pick up
Now,
movement.
the open balcony door, whilst you were lying in the bed watching TV, that didn't bother you.
I was awake, my lady. It didn't bother me.
So whilst you're awake, it wouldn't bother you. And it didn't.
No, it didn't bother me,
Right.
my lady.
Now, when we deal with the scene, we'll go back there. I just want to move on to the incident on the highway. Now, just tell us again what happened.
The lady, I was coming back late one evening from an interview. A car came up behind me and I moved over. It was just after John Foster, the undercarriage. It was a black Mercedes. It came past and then it slowed down. And then a couple of seconds later, I saw a muzzle flash from the back of the vehicle, my lady, and I slammed on brakes. I was driving in the fast lane. When I moved over, I moved into the middle or one of the lane to the left. I'm not sure if it's a 3 or 4 lane. And then when I saw the muzzle flash, I swerved, and I was luckily about 150 meters from Buerta turnoff. And I took the Buerta turn off and I went under the highway and then returned back, and then I took John Foster and I parked at a place where there were a lot of people.
Was this a weekday?
I'm not sure, my lady.
What time was it?
It was late in the evening. It was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Were there other cars on the highway?
I don't remember any other cars on the highway, my lady.
And you did nothing. There was no road rage incident before then.
I don't understand the question.
Were you in this black Mercedes? Were you involved in any altercation before this incident?
I was never in a black Mercedes, my lady.
What did you say? Black what?
I said there was a black Mercedes. I didn't say I was in a black Mercedes.
No, but who fired at you? The black Mercedes?
That's correct.
Yes, were you and that black Mercedes in an altercation?
No, my lady.
So, you're driving on the highway. You've used that highway before, am I right?
That's correct, my lady.
It's a busy stretch of road there.
It's the busiest stretch of road in the southern hemisphere, my lady. It's my understanding.
Yeah. So, in all probability, there would have been other vehicles on the road.
There possibly would have been, my lady.
Possibly is one thing, but probably there would have been other vehicles.
There were definitely other vehicles on that stretch of road, my lady.
Yes. And without any reason, this black Mercedes drove in front of you.
That's correct, my lady.
Reduced speed. Is that what you did?
My lady, I was driving in the fast lane. The car came up behind me. It was going a lot faster than I was. I changed lanes. It overtook me and it slowed down. I don't remember any other cars because I think the weight of the situation, I don't remember some of the other things. I don't remember there being other cars on the highway, but yes, in all probability there were other vehicles, maybe a kilometre or two or a couple of 100 metres within our vicinity, but that's what I remember.
And you saw a muzzle flash?
That's correct, my lady.
That wasn't a camera flash?
No, it didn't. So I could hear, as I said, I could hear a banging noise, and I saw a red and reddish whitish explosion, my lady. Like,
no, you say, as I said, I could hear a banging noise and I could see. You've never said that.
I did, my lady. My chief, I did say that I heard a noise.
I'll check. It might be. I'll check. You said you heard a bang coming from that vehicle.
That is what I said, my lady.
Yeah. So you heard a bang and a muzzle flash.
I didn't hear the muzzle flash, my lady. I
But
saw
you
a
the muzzle flash.
That's correct, my lady.
You're not that tired. You're keeping up with where I make mistakes.
I am indeed, my lady.
Yes, I just want to put that on record. Why would you say it was not a camera flash? Why are you saying that?
My lady, I've answered this question.
Answer it again, please, Mr. Pistorius.
My lady, it was because I knew it wasn't a camera flash, because I could hear a bang. I associated it with a firearm. I could see that the muzzle colour it looked like red and white, my lady.
Now, before I go on, I just have to get it clear for myself. This was out of the blue. Nothing happened that would give that, whoever that was, reason to fire at you.
I have no idea why this would have happened, my lady.
You're alone in your car?
That's correct, my lady. I was coming back from a late night interview.
You had a cell phone with you?
That's correct, my lady.
I'm sure you immediately phoned someone.
I didn't immediately phone somebody. My first thought was to get away as far as I could. I said in my chief that I took the highway exit. I sped up extremely quickly. I took the undercarriage. I climbed back on the highway in the opposite direction. I took the next turn off. I wasn't sure if the person was going to turn around, so I was constantly checking my mirrors. I didn't have time to make a phone call. When I got to the Rhapsodies, I made a phone call, my lady.
When was this?
It was in 2008, 2009, my lady.
2008, 2009. And then you went to Rhapsodies.
That's correct, my lady. I went to the first, as you take John Foster turnoff, if you go over the highway, the first shopping centre on the left, there's a couple of restaurants there and there's a Rhapsodies there. It was quite busy. There were people there, and I thought that it would be safe to be around other people. So I parked my car in the parking bay, and I phoned somebody to come and pick me up to take me home.
But you went into Rhapsody?
No, I didn't go into
You
Rhapsody.
didn't? You waited in the parking area?
That's correct.
Who did you phone?
I don't remember, my
No,
lady.
you must remember. You cannot tell this court that on this incident, traumatic incident, you cannot remember who picked you up.
My lady, this is 6 years ago, my lady. I don't remember who I phoned.
No, you see, it is so improbable that you wouldn't remember who you phoned. And it's so improbable that in consultation you wouldn't have been asked the same question. For your counsel to find out who you phoned.
I don't know who I phoned, my lady. My counsel did ask me, and I told them I don't know.
It's because it never happened. You don't want anybody to check up. That's
not,
the only reason why you would forget who picked you up that night that somebody almost shot you.
That's not true, my lady.
It's the one night that somebody almost shot you, am I right?
That's correct, my lady.
And you can remember raps. You remember exactly where you turned left, where you turned right, and how you got to Rhapsody. Exactly.
That's correct, my lady.
But you do not remember who you phoned. That doesn't make sense.
That's correct, my lady.
No, it doesn't make sense. You don't want anybody to be able to check up on this.
That's not true, my lady. If I could remember who I phoned, I'd gladly give you their name because they would collaborate my story, my lady. I don't remember it.
Now, on your version, you left your car there.
That's correct, my lady.
How did you get your car back?
I don't remember, my lady. Somebody must have picked me up the next morning or dropped me off.
Now, one thing we have, I'm sure you agree with, that if somebody shoots at you on a highway, that's a very serious incident.
I agree, my lady.
One could die.
That's correct, my lady.
And well, I've already asked the question, so I have to ask a different question. Why did you not report it to the police?
My lady, I don't see what the police could have possibly done about it.
Why do you say that? Police investigate cases. They can find things out, but you didn't trust them.
That's correct, my lady. I didn't have the trust in them to find out what. I don't think they would have given it the attention.
That's not the first word about trust in the police that I've read in your family. But we'll get to what I've read in your family because I just want to work on this. And I'll make it easier for you. Your father had similar views. You know that.
I don't know that, my lady.
Have you never read it anywhere?
Not that I can recall, my lady.
Did
I don't know.
nobody tell you what your father said in the media at all?
Not regarding the police, my lady. I can't remember.
About possessing guns?
No, my lady. I don't read papers. I try not to follow the media. I don't know what my father said. I don't have contact with him.
Okay. I'm going to rephrase the question. Please think. You have no idea what your father said in the media about ownership of guns in South Africa.
I have no idea what my father said, my lady. I understand that Mr. Niles read things out of video extracts. I grew up in a family where we did phone the police, and not once did our things get sorted out or did they catch anyone. I can understand if that was my father's opinion, but I haven't read anything.
But you, Mr. Pistorius, in 2008, 2009, did not trust the police.
It's not that I didn't trust the
You said
police.
that.
I didn't trust the police to be able to do anything about the situation, my lady.
Is that also why you never reported your burglary? Because you never trusted the police?
Yes, that is possibly true, my lady. Although I'd called the police out, I think that is what I did say. I'd called the police out, but there wasn't a docket that was opened when there was an attempt burglary. What I said was, when it came to my burglaries, that it happened a week and a half earlier when I was overseas. I didn't see what the police could possibly do. What I said is I also didn't have insurance at the time, so there was no need for me to open a police report. There were many factors. I wouldn't just contribute it to one factor.
But one of the factors is you thought that you didn't trust the police to do anything about your house burglary.
That's not what I said, my lady.
But is that a factor?
No, what I said, I didn't say I didn't have trust in them to do anything about it. I said I didn't trust that they would be able to do anything about it, that anything would happen. I don't know if they would investigate it or not, but I didn't see how they could possibly find out who'd burgled my house a week and a half earlier.
So you don't know who picked you up from Rhapsodies. Pardon me. You don't know who picked you up from Rhapsodies.
As I said, my lady, I don't remember.
And a similar incident did not happen after that, where somebody fired at you.
So, no, I didn't have somebody fire at me. I said in my chief that there were people that had followed me, but there weren't people that had fired at me again.
Now, let us then deal with the 2012 incident, where you said you got assaulted. Remember that incident?
Yes, I clearly remember that incident.
But before we go there, something gave rise to that particular incident. Am I right?
That's correct, my lady.
You approached a Mr. van der Berg at a public get-together at Daytona. Am I right?
That's correct, my lady. It wasn't a public get-together of Daytona Group, but it was a racetrack meeting.
So in public, you approached Mr. Quentin van der Berg, and you had an argument with him about Samantha Taylor.
I didn't have an argument about him, my lady.
What did you do?
Mr. van der Berg had taken Samantha Taylor overseas whilst I was at the Olympics on a pretense that it was for a work function. He's in his late 30s and Samantha's 19, 20 years old. It later came out when her and I were reconciling our relationship when I got back from London. There are emails to show that she said that he was manipulative and disgusting and a whole bunch of things, and this is what she conveyed to me in person. I didn't expect to see Mr. van den Berg at the Kyalami racetrack. When I arrived, I saw him and I immediately went to a different side of the outside area where we were. He stared at me the whole morning, my lady. He made eye contact with me and he just couldn't keep his eyes off me. I said to a friend of mine, there were many of my friends there at the time, I said to them, I actually feel like leaving. I don't feel like any confrontation with this person. And as I was leaving, Mr. van den Berg turned around and looked at me. So I approached him and I said to him, Mr. van den Berg, you obviously know who I am. I just want you to know that I have very little respect for what you did. I didn't threaten him in any manner. I told him exactly what I thought about him. I didn't swear at him. There were many, many people that were around. And he didn't have any reply to me. I turned around and I left after that.
That's your version, but let us just test it because I don't know who will give evidence. Mr. De Vares was there.
That's correct.
Who else was there?
Mr. Barwell was there, my lady, another friend of mine. Mr. Larina, who was here, who gave evidence. He was right there. He was standing.
Yeah. No,
Mr. Fresco was there, I
Fresco
believe.
was there, yeah. Now, if anybody would say that you approached him, you were aggressive, they would be lying.
That's correct, my lady.
So, but you approached him.
That's correct, my lady.
And you indicated that you're unhappy with what he did.
That's correct, my lady.
And if he would say you were aggressive, he's lying.
My lady, Mr. Vandenberg sent me a legal letter about 2 weeks later asking my management for my address. It was clear that he wanted to pick a fight. He sent an email from a lawyer on an official letterhead. The letterhead had names of many countries on it, but the lawyer was registered from his home. It was an intimidation letter that I received. I seek legal advice. I was told not to even waste my time in replying to Mr. Vandenberg. Although, when I got home that day from Kailami, I had a function to attend at Sun City. Miss Taylor was waiting for me at my house. She had been at my house throughout the morning that day. She was going to go with me to Sun City. When I got home, she was extremely upset that I'd confronted Mr. Vandenberg. An argument pursued, and I asked her why she was defending him. She said to me that somebody had phoned her and told her that I had approached him and basically told him off. I asked her, after all the things that she told me about this person, why she was defending them. She immediately said that she wasn't defending him. I told her that I didn't have time to argue about this. If it's been very hard for me to forgive her for what had happened, if she would like to defend him. Our bags were already packed to Sun City. I actually gave her the keys to my Jeep. I said to her, you're more than welcome to just take your bag. I've got a business function I need to attend. This relationship isn't working. I cannot deal with the drama of this man and you. Please, let's just leave it. And I put her bag in my car. I gave her the key and I said to her that I would organize that somebody pick up the vehicle at a later stage. She then pleaded with me. She said she was sorry. I said to her, I understand if she's sorry, but that she can please not defend this person who's got in between her and I. We got into my car, we drove to Sun City, which is very important because by the time we got to Sun City, I was met in the foyer by Mr. Batchelor. He came over and he approached Samantha Taylor and I, and he must have known that I was there for a function. I'm not sure if Samantha had told Quinton and he had told Batchelor, but it all came together later on when Mr. Batchelor was the person who was involved in this intimidation and the repercussion of it with the assault where we landed up at the Hawks.
Okay, now you've given us now this long discussion. You see, that's the issue with leading good character evidence of yourselves, because are you telling me that you never shouted at Samantha Taylor when you got home?
We got into an argument, my lady.
You shouted at her?
I didn't shout at her, my lady.
No.
I was very civil with her. I had had enough of the relationship. I packed her bag in my car. I offered her to take my vehicle.
I hear what you're saying, Mr. Pistorius, but we will deal with this a bit further, but let me just deal with one thing. You, the person that approached Mr. Vandenberg in a public area and confronted him because he took Samantha Taylor overseas.
That's correct, my lady.
Good, you confirm. So, and that is the incident that gave rise to the incident where you got assaulted.
That's correct, my lady.
Now there again, you approached the person with the phone.
That's correct, my lady.
Nobody, at the time, you were at this get-together. In fact, you were in the bathroom when you overheard a conversation.
That's correct, my lady.
You then approached that person to talk on the phone.
As I said, that's correct, my lady.
And you then spoke to Mr. Mark Batchelor.
That's correct, my lady.
And you threatened him that you'll break his legs.
That's incorrect.
But you know, you've heard that he said that.
I've heard that he said that.
So he's lying.
He is lying, my lady.
You're telling us the truth.
That is correct, my lady.
You never said that.
I never said any threat or anything to Mr. Batchelor. I would not be so careless, my lady. He's revered as a person that has been in many assault charges. I would never attempt to threaten somebody. The only reason I approached the person who was on the phone was to defuse the situation. After more than 10 minutes trying to reason with him, I came to the conclusion that this man wasn't of the mind to talk about something. He told me that Mr. van den Berg was a good friend of his, and that if I want to, in a very explicit tone, he told me to wind my neck in. These are all the words I used when we were at the Hawks. We discussed the story. The story was diffused there. I called the meeting at the Hawks.
I know you wanted. Let us deal with the evidence now. The fact is that you never reported, and I'm talking to a police station. You never reported this to a police station.
That's correct.
Mr. De Vares arranged a meeting with a very senior member at the Hawks.
That's correct, my lady.
So you all went to the Hawks.
That's correct.
Where that was you, Mr. De Vares. Who else?
It was myself, Mr. De Vares, Mr. Batchelor, and Mr. Batchelor brought a lawyer with him, my lady, who was representing him and Quentin van den Berg.
And after that, there was no court cases.
No, there were no court cases.
Now, you were assaulted that night.
No, I was not assaulted that night, my lady.
You weren't assaulted?
No, my lady.
Not when you visited the Hawks, but after you spoke on the phone.
That wasn't the same day, my lady.
Wasn't it the same day? No. Let us just deal with it. At the time when you spoke to Mr. Batchelor on the phone.
That's correct.
Were you assaulted that day?
That's correct, my lady.
Did you lay charge with the police?
The next day, we got the meeting set up with the Hawks, my lady.
The next day, after your assault?
That's correct, my lady.
Are you sure? Did you not go to... Oh, no, that was after the meeting. So, you never laid a charge for assault with the police. You just spoke to the police and resolved an issue.
I never spoke to the police, my lady.
You spoke to the Hawks and resolved it.
Correct,
You never laid a charge of assault with the police.
That's correct, my lady.
And you know who assaulted you?
I don't, my lady.
I see. Now, Mr. Pistorius,
my lady, in this context, I think it's important to state that it has come back to me on many occasions that Mr. van den Berg paid Mr. Batchelor a sum of money. He confessed it to Mr. De Vares. He got caught up with what he thought were his friends in these people, and got extorted for even more money. And I believe that that was the reason for them trying to involve me in whatever idea they had.
Mr. Pistorius, for a man like you, at that get-together, would it not have been easier just to leave?
My lady, I think it's important to state that I had my firearm with me at that point when I was assaulted. I didn't use it, and I did leave. I went straight from there to Morningside Clinic, where I got stitches in my head.
Mr. Pistorius, before talking on the phone, before taking people on, would it not have been better for you to leave? Why did you get involved in altercation?
I heard the conversation being told outside. I heard the person talking to Mr. Batchelor outside, and I thought that it would be best to talk about the situation to Mr. Batchelor. I don't know him personally. I thought that maybe he'd be a person that I could reason with.
But you met him there at Sun City?
I knew who he was, my lady.
You've met him at Sun City, did you not?
I didn't greet him at Sun City. He greeted Samantha Taylor, and I left.
I'll still ask you the question, why? You look for trouble by approaching that person and talking on the phone. You look for trouble. You did not try and diffuse something.
My lady, if I was looking for trouble, I would not even contemplate speaking to the person.
That is...
I was trying to defuse the situation, as I've said.
No, Mr. Pistorius. That's not true. It's not, your version of the event is not true, but we'll see if we can get something and deal with it a bit later, perhaps.
My lady, Mr. Lorena and Mr. Fresco have given evidence. The state's known about this. Can we
recall them? And we couldn't lead it because this is character evidence, but would you be happy to get their versions of the events?
More than happy to, my lady.
About the events on the day by Daytona?
Correct, my lady.
Okay, good. But you have Mr. Devaris, he could perhaps tell us.
I'm not sure if they'll be calling
Okay.
Mr. Devaris, my lady. I haven't consulted with my counsel.
But
as
it's a
to-
possibility that he might give evidence and then we get the version.
That is a possibility.
Or we can get Mr. Lorena or somebody just to explain to the court really what happened there.
That's correct, my
Okay,
lady.
that's good. We can look into that. Mr. Pistorius, let us now go back to the scene. And the early morning of 14 February. Do you have your photo album with you? Mr. Mr. Pistorius, you've given evidence up to the stage where you brought the two fans in cross-examination.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, after you brought the two fans in, what happened then?
I placed the two fans on the floor and I closed the doors and I closed the curtains, my lady.
Yes, and then?
I then went to the amplifier to cover the light with a pair of jeans. And it was at that point that I heard the noise coming from the bathroom, my lady.
Now, let's just deal with that. Why did you want to cover the light?
Because it was distracting, my lady.
Why would that be? Why?
I think if I was trying to sleep, if there was a light on, it would distract me, my lady.
So that was sharp enough light to bother you in your sleeping.
It must have been, my lady.
Now, if that's sharp enough to bother you, it must illuminate at least an area.
I think if you look at it, it's a blue LCD light, my lady. So it's a small light, but it's bright. If you had contact eye, if you're looking at it, it would be very distracting.
But it would illuminate the area. Otherwise, it would not bother you.
My lady, it would not illuminate the area at all.
It did. Are you sure?
If Mr. Nell says it did, my lady, then I cannot agree with that because
You never said it illuminated the area.
No, I never said it illuminates
So
the area.
It was just a blue light, and that wouldn't help you to see anything.
You could see the silhouette of the jeans, as I said, on the floor.
Yes, you see. So you said one could see something in the blue light, so you could at least see the jeans.
The silhouette of the jeans, my lady. The jeans were about a meter away from the amp.
Whose were those?
They were Reavers, my lady.
Now, this particular blue light, was that the first time that it bothered you?
It had bothered me before. I had covered it before with other things.
And you never took steps to change it, to cover it permanently or anything like that?
If I had, my lady, it wouldn't have bothered me on that evening.
Did you think of doing that before?
No, my lady.
Why did it bother you that evening? Because that's not the reason why you woke up.
I'm sorry, my lady, I didn't hear Mr. Null's question.
That's not the reason why you woke up, that blue light, am I right?
I don't know what the reason was why I woke up, my lady. It was warm and I couldn't sleep.
Now, when did the blue light bother you?
as I closed the curtains and I turned and I placed, as I closed the curtains, I turned back to the fans and I saw the blue light was on. That's when it bothered me and I thought that I should cover it.
So it bothered you then?
When the room was pitch black, my lady.
And did you cover it?
I don't remember, my lady.
No, that's not that.
What was the question?
Did you cover it, my lady?
Oh.
I don't remember if I covered it. At that point I heard the noise, my lady. I don't remember if I covered it. It was at that point that I...
Okay, let's go slowly. You wanted to cover it.
That's correct, my lady.
You wanted to cover it, and you can tell us you wanted to cover it with the jeans.
That's correct, my lady. I'd already picked up the pair of jeans and I was in the process of placing them on the amp.
Now, let's just go to a photograph. My lady, I may refer to E68. Pardon me, could we first go to E61? Where's that blue?
If you look at the amplifier, my lady, it's on they're two big the one's a volume swivel and the other one I think is a function swivel. If you look to the top left corner, the name of the amp, it says Pioneer, and then just below the amp there's a button there. The LCD is in the middle of that button, my lady.
Is it there where the arrow is now?
That's correct, my lady.
There where the circuit is. So in the middle of that button there's a small blue LED light that you wanted to cover.
That's correct.
So how did you want to cover it?
By draping the jean over the light, my lady, or over the button.
Could we just go to 55, please? You've yesterday indicated that there, where the fold is in this duvet, that's where you placed the larger of the two fans.
It's where one of the feet of the larger of the two fans was, my lady, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, that's perhaps important. So which one would that be? Where would the other two be? More to the right of this photograph or more to the left?
My lady, this photo is two-dimensional and it's not taken from above. So the duvet is, I don't know how many centimeters off the ground. It's in the vicinity, as I said yesterday, about. That's about where I remember.
Okay.
I agree with Mr. Noel, that's about where the fan was, but I didn't say for certain that's where it was.
But what we also know is that to the left of that fan is where you put the other fan.
That's incorrect, my lady.
Where was that?
To the right of that fan.
To the right of that. So you put the smaller fan between this fan and the curtain.
That's incorrect, my lady.
Where did you put it then?
To the right of the big fan, my lady, as I said yesterday.
Yeah, but where? Please indicate on the screen. Is that to the right of the fan? If you look at the photo, isn't that to the left of the fan?
My lady, as I described, I brought the small fan in first and I brought the big fan in second. So I didn't place the small fan to the right. It was already there. I brought the left fan in and I placed it to the left of the smaller fan.
Perhaps I'm confused, but let us rather work on where you pointed out.
I can
You
explain.
pointed out where the fold is, and you pointed out that, let's not use left or right, more towards the bathroom side of your room, that's where you put the smaller fan.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, right behind the smaller fan must have been the den. Where did you pick the jeans up?
More or less where they are now, my lady. As I said, they were about a meter away from the amplifier.
Now, you then heard what?
I then heard the window sliding open, my lady.
Heard the window sliding open. You never heard the deceased get up.
I did not, my lady.
Never heard anything on the bed creak or anything on the bed.
I did not, my lady.
On your evidence, the fans were on.
That's correct, my lady.
You're very close to the fans.
That's correct, my lady.
And you still could hear a window slide open.
The noise that the window makes when it slides open, my lady, would be a lot louder than anybody getting out of bed. I heard the window slide, and I heard, as I said, I heard the window slide, and I heard it hit the frame when it was finished sliding. That's what I said.
You know, slide and slam, but you heard slide. That's important.
That's correct, my lady.
There was just no mistake that is exactly what you heard.
That's correct, my lady.
And from this incident up until now, that is what you heard. It's a window sliding open and slamming.
That's correct, my lady.
What happened then?
I was frozen for a moment, a couple of seconds, and then I rushed to grab my firearm, which was next to the pedestal, next to the pedestal, my lady.
Yes.
I then got my firearm, and as I turned around to turn my body to face the passage, I told Reva to get down to phone the police.
How did you tell her?
I whispered it to her, my lady. I said it in a soft tone.
Now, did you look at her when you said that?
No, my lady. From the time that I left the amplifier to the time I got my firearm, I tried not to get my eyes off the passage.
I see. Now, when you heard the noise, you never discussed the noise with her?
I did not discuss the noise with her, my lady.
You never said, Reva, did you hear that?
I didn't say that, my lady.
I asked, did you say that?
I did not, my lady.
Why not? She's awake.
I was not confused about what I'd heard, my lady.
You shouldn't be confused, but did you not check with her? Reva, did you hear that? I never said what I heard. She's awake. Did you not say, Reva, did you hear that?
There was no doubt in my mind that I'd heard what I'd heard, my lady. I didn't need confirmation. I didn't ask her.
We never asked if you asked for confirmation. I asked, did you not say to her, Reva, did you hear that?
No, my lady.
I'm putting it to you, and I'm going to show you that that's a reasonable thing to do. To say, Reva, she's awake. Reva, did you hear that?
I didn't do that, my lady.
In the past, if you heard a voice, you woke up. Noise. In the past, when you heard a noise, you discussed that with Samantha Taylor.
On an occasion, one occasion where that did happen, where Miss Taylor had slept at my home, I had heard a noise downstairs, but I'd woken up when I heard that noise. As the noise was happening, I heard it, and I leant over to her and I asked her if she'd heard the noise. What it was my dog had come in the house, and he was running around and knocking over the dining room chairs downstairs. So at that occasion, yes, I did lean over. I was unsure about what I'd heard. On the morning of the 14th, I was sure of what I heard. I didn't want to converse more than what I had to, and I said to Reva, get down and phone the police.
But one thing we know is you never waited for a response.
That's correct, my lady.
You never checked up if she's okay and if she's panicking.
I never did, my lady.
You never said, Reva, listen and make contact with her and tell her what to do. That you didn't do.
I did tell her what to do, my lady.
You whispered at her, but you never looked at her and said, Reva, go down.
I didn't whisper to her, my lady. I said it in a soft manner. I said, get down and phone the police. I was sure that there was somebody in my house.
You never whispered. What's the difference between soft manner and whisper?
Soft manner is talking softly, and a whisper would be a whisper, my lady.
So, but you didn't whisper.
No, my lady, I didn't whisper.
You're not mistaken. You're not mistaken because you can remember lots of detail. You're not mistaken that you perhaps whispered to her.
No, my lady, I spoke to her in a soft manner.
And you never waited for a response.
I didn't wait for a response, and I didn't hear a response, my lady.
And that didn't bother you?
My whole being was fixated on this person that I thought was in the bathroom, my lady. I'd already grabbed my firearm. When I told Reva to get down and call the police, I was already facing away from the bed. I was already making my way to the passage.
You see, we'll go on from there, but the one thing that you 100% happy with is that duvet that one could see in photograph 55 was not there.
That's correct, my lady.
But the denim was.
The denim was, as I said, in that vicinity and about that area.
Now, let us take it one step further. If that photograph that we see there, photograph 55, if that is the way it was that morning, your version cannot be true.
That's correct, my lady.
So, for that to happen, the police must have moved the fan, put it away on the floor.
We discussed this in great length with the curtains and the fan and the duvet and the other fan yesterday, my lady. That is true.
See, there's one big problem, Mr. Pistorius. That denim is lying on the duvet.
I don't see that as a
I'll
problem,
show you.
my lady.
I'm going to show you.
I don't dispute that, my lady, but I don't see how that's a problem. If everything was moved in the room, then there's no reason why the denim couldn't have been moved. The duvet, I don't see how that's a problem.
No, we'll get there. The first things first. Let's go to photograph 68. And you see it's lying on the top part of the denim is lying onto a portion of the duvet.
Yes, I can, my lady.
Now, so you say that's not a problem.
I'm saying it doesn't fit with my version of what happened, my lady.
And you said it's not a problem.
Well, I'm saying that if everything else was moved, if many other things were moved in the room, which we've already discussed.
But what we have to then take into account is that the police picked the denim up put the duvet down and threw the denim down on the duvet.
As they did with many other things, my lady.
You see, Mr. Pistorius, why would the police do that? Why would they handle the denim and put it onto the duvet? Why?
My lady, I cannot answer that question.
Because they never
we've
did.
gone through the photos where the cricket bat had moved slightly. We've gone on to things where the firearm had been picked up and replaced, where we saw things. I don't know why the police did that. I can't explain that. I wasn't there.
So I'm keeping a list. So a policeman must have. Let's start. Open the curtains wider, move the fans, switch the light on, put the duvet on the floor, and ensure that the denim is on top of the duvet. Because that is important. If the police put it next to it, that would not have been that important. Am I correct?
That's correct, my lady.
So, and now we're a year later, and nobody knew that you did something with the jeans. Why would the police do that?
As I said, I don't know, my lady.
But on your version, you had it in your hands and you dropped it.
That's correct, my lady.
And if that is the way it was on the day, you lie about the debate.
I'm so sorry to intervene, but we know all about photo perception. It's put as a fact. Of course, if you just look at it quickly, but you don't know to what extent this distance and the duvet, the denim is up. And I've seen many photo deceptions. I'm not sure if by looking at this, and it was pointed out to me that that's in fact so, because it's a photo taken from one side. I will show you many photo deceptions where you think in the police's own photos that it was on top and it's not. I don't believe in this photo you can make the point that's on top. Maybe just before it, and as the photo is taken, it blocks that. I can't see anything to say that's on top of it. But for a first sight, when you look at it, but when you start to look properly, you don't know that.
But lady, we dealt with that with a bat and 1 millimeter move and different angles. That's true. But what I see on that photograph and what the accused agreed to is that that denim is on that device. If Mr. Roux wants to deal with this in re-examination, he can. But, my lady, it is not an inadmissible question or an unfair question.
Mr. Roux?
But my lady, we can't see that's on top. I mean, to say to an accused it's on top, and he will say, yes, that means nothing, but is it in fact? And I don't see that. Let the state blow it up. Let's get a proper photo. I will show 100 photos where they put the denim in front of it and it will seem to be on top, but it's not. I can't see that's on top. And I think it's
You're saying
unfair.
a blow up would make
I don't ask for the wrong side. If it's blown up more, maybe we can see. But we know photo deception. We've heard evidence about it on the cameras and so on. And all I say, it's unfair to make a point to the accused to say it's on top when we don't know it's on top. There's no evidence that it was on top.
Yes.
But for a photo, one would have expected that evidence.
But
Yes, Mr. No?
my argument is still, it's not an inadmissible question. I asked the accused if he can see it. If later Mr. Roux wants to take it up in re-examination, that's possible. But at the moment, with the utmost respect, the court will allow me to carry on.
Would you, I'm very doubtful now that we're speaking about Emils. Can you not blow it up?
Yes,
Yes.
I will do that.
Yes. And
Can we please
before
zoom
you
in?
proceed, please, Mr. Nell,
Yes, ma'am.
mind your language.
What did I say, my lady?
You don't call a witness a liar, not while he's in the witness box.
As a book, please.
In fact, I may say, and I will assist Mr. Nell, and maybe it's an appropriate time. I see it's not long before quarter past, because it's a serious issue. We've blown one up, and I would like to show him that there may be a very different view about that. I see, my lady, it is 10 past, it's 5 minutes before the adjournment, and rather to have this argument, I just have that concern that we carry on with a line of cross-examination, which might turn out to be very unfair.
Mr. No?
I agree with that.
We'll take our adjournment now. Court will adjourn.